viewers. My name is Munawar, and I am an online psychologist and active listener at 7cups.com, and I'm also working as a counselor at Umang. So today we will talk about chat-based counseling. First, we are going to learn what chat-based counseling exactly is. Chat counseling is defined as a service that offers information, advice, and support for psychological and social problems using a chat technology system. So, moving on to the next point, how does it work? As we know, chat interaction occurs in real time. So, in chat counseling, client and counselor interact simultaneously using computer-based chat technology or mobile-based chat applications. Moving on to the next slide, we will now look at unique characteristics of chat counseling. The first one is the client is in control. In this feature, we come to know three main points. Client have control over the location where they want to get counsel. The other feature of in control is that client have control to either continue the session or at any point where they see that it's not working for them. The last feature of in control is that client have control over what information they want to pass on to the counselor and what not to share. Second characteristic of this chat counseling experience basically is that the client experiences a high degree of anonymity. As we all know that in both phone and chat counseling, client and counselor cannot see each other. So adapting a non-visual chat is considered as a beneficial for rapport building and ensuring the chat anonymity. Now come to the next point, and its conversation is in written form. So obviously when a chat conversation is written down, the dialogues are maintained and reflected back to both recipient and sender. It also provides time and opportunity to client and counselor to formulate and edit their sentences before sending. Whereas for client, this can provide a therapeutic effect on itself. So conversation is also saved, printed, and reread at any time. The fifth characteristic is that chat counseling is independent of clinical setup. So the other point which I'm going to discuss with you is that chat counseling is silent. So the confidentiality factor is easily maintained, and the person feels more secure in sharing their thoughts. Counseling to the people who have some hearing or speech impediment is not possible in phone conversation. So in that case, chat counseling provide an opportunity to counsel this group of people. And the possibility of combining counseling with other online functionalities is also very easy in chat counseling, as psychoeducation in chat counseling is more feasible and convenient, as you can share links of some website or blogs to your client to read and explain what you are trying to communicate to them. So now coming to the next topic. In this topic, I'm going to discuss the limitations of chat counseling. Chat counseling is more time consuming. It is 5 times longer than corresponding to a phone conversation. To compensate this, many organizations also allow a counselor to have an ongoing conversation with more than one client. And risk assessment and crisis intervention become difficult in chat counseling. It requires more systematic approach and experience to assess the seriousness of the situation at the client end, because the counselor cannot see and hear the client. So if a counselor assesses that a client is in a situation that requires the immediate intervention, so there is no guarantee that client will provide the information that will allow the counselor to help. And chat counseling is not for everybody, and a sad thing, because chat counseling is more popular in children and in youth, I mean young children, so as compared to old people, as it requires basic chat technology knowledge, and it must be literate enough, the person must be literate enough to explain itself in written form. So in some psychotic disorder even, the chat conversation cannot work as effectively. So chat counseling is associated with some kind of technical problems, as if a person is having a conversation on chat counseling, and suddenly the disconnect of internet occurs. So in that case, a client and counselor both face great kind of disturbance. So there's a loss of verbal and non-verbal cues. Yes, in chat counseling, it is a very critical problem that you are not able to see your client. So all the things like verbal and non-verbal cues you are not able to get them, and all the body language and gestures, some facial expressions which you are able to see in your one-to-one conversation, or you can say video call. The counselor has just to rely on the chat information. So these are the things which come into the limitations of chat counseling. Yes, now I'm moving to the next slide, and it's core skills of counseling. Yes, in chat counseling, they are not different kind of core skills. They are the same which we follow in normal chat, which we normally follow in our different kind of counseling setups, like empathy and chat, active listening, reflection, summarizing, paraphrasing, unconditional positive regard, questioning your client, congruence. These are the things which you have to do in your words. You have to write them in your conversation. You have to express yourself in text form. So language and behavior in chat counseling. Yes, it is a very important topic, and coming to this topic, I will say that basically chat counseling, language and behavior is the main thing which we have to learn in this topic. So spoken language, yes, in spoken language, these are the things which come very important, like good typing skills, spelling and writing skills are also must be good enough, so that the text quickly created without any errors, and a counselor should write in a direct style to reduce any kind of misunderstandings basically. So it must be ensure the counselor must ensure the thing that conversation is going in a right track, and client is satisfied whatever is going on, and ensure the flow of the conversation. So whenever you see that client is typing something and trying to elaborate more about his problem, so let it get complete, and don't ask in between that. So you must be patient enough to let it get complete. So the message in the counseling conversation must be short, and be careful toward the tone of the conversation, and don't offend your client by your words, by your text, and these are the things which come into the spoken language. And now come to the next point, and it's a punctuation. Yes, as we are aware of the thing that chat counseling is based on written form, so punctuation play a very important role in written text. So these are the things you have to keep in your mind. What are the punctuations which are used in chat counseling most of the time? Yes, lapses. You can used to illustrate a break in the topic, or if placed at the end of the reply, it means to signal, you are signaling, you are telling your client that I intend to write more. So brackets, yes, these are mostly used to reflect that you want to tell something, your internal feelings and emotions, and mostly it's used when you are summarizing or paraphrasing and reflecting back. And exclamation mark, yes, it can be used to reinforce the message. And capital letters, yes, whenever you see that capital letters are used in any kind of text, it mostly means that you are reinforcing about something. So at times another person also interpret it as aggression or shouting. So typically chat counselor avoid it. And the last point I'm going to discuss here is working as a chat counselor. What are the responsibilities? What are the things you have to keep in your mind when you become a chat counselor? That you have to ask your question very precisely, very intelligently, and as you have a less time and you have a less verbal and non-verbal cues, so you should be very vigilant about your questions. So make them very accurate, and try to become smart enough in asking your questions. The counselor must be able to reflect and summarize the client feelings and thoughts in effective words, so that it's become easy for a client to understand that what are the main things which are the problem of the client. So in chat counseling, client cannot see you, so it just get influenced by your text and content. And treatment plan, yes, the counselor must have knowledge of various treatment strategies. All the treatment plans must be in his mind, so and it's able to apply that according to the client's needs and case. And risk assessment, yeah, it's all the same things we have learned in our normal counseling setups, but the thing is risk assessment, which is a little bit quite different from other setups, because in chat counseling the risk assessment is difficult, because you're not talking, you are not understanding what are the seriousness, what are the things which pinching your client most. So you cannot able to assess most of the time that is it a very serious thing, or is it's just a joke for a client. That you have, if a counselor accurately assess that yes, there is some kind of risk, so you have some basic contact details to help your client in either case. And chat counselor qualifications and competencies, yes, I think these are the things which are quite different from other counselors, because it involves the writing skills too. Because if you have a degree, if you have a qualification enough, you have the relevant kind of qualification. But the thing which matters in chat counseling, that you must be aware of good typing skills. You are aware of how to use computer and chat applications. It's not too difficult in this era, in this time period. So these are the things just we have to keep in our mind before going for a chat counseling. I hope you are able to understand all the things, and you have learned something, and wish you very best of luck, and thank you so much for listening.